What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Trey Mundo back again with Heavy Hittin Opinionatorz. Sorry, I'll be trying to give you guys this little content every day. I was under the weather last week, but I'm back now, so I am in good health. So no COVID, no nothing. But I'm gonna stick this strictly to the NFL. I'm gonna go right to it. Football amongst us. Football started. So guess what? We're finna go over fantasy. A lot of you guys are brand new to fantasy, and a lot of you guys don't know what you're doing in fantasy. So when you draft fantasy players, you got to get those guys who's rushing yards first. Reason why? Because you don't want to be the person that draft somebody in fantasy, and then next thing you know, you're at the bottom of the bottom. I hate to know that somebody I know subscribed to me only winning 2 games in fantasy. And worse, I hate to know that somebody losing money. This is money opportunity right here for you, especially if you guys know money leagues and everything. So I got me a fantasy list right here of guys that it's not like a mock draft. It's like what you should be drafting if you're those first few picks. So pretty much this is how it's going to go down. And this is also a disclaimer. I did not put Alvin Kamara in the top pick or whatsoever because he has some legal issues going on right now, and they haven't charged him yet, but that trial is still up to coming. I think it might end up in 2023. I know it's been postponed for a minute, but other than that, I did not put him on the top list because I don't want you drafting somebody who you might not see at the end of the season. Knowing the NFL, they might not let him play. So let's go for number one on our list. I got Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, if you're the first round, you should go for Jonathan Taylor. Reason why I'm going to say going for Jonathan Taylor, he was leading the league in rushing yards. He had almost 1,800 rushing yards. Not almost, over 1,800 rushing yards. I think 1,811. So, why not draft this guy first? You would be a complete idiot not to draft him first. There's only 2 other people that I would not say nothing about you drafting him first. I'll question it a little bit, like how you not get the guy who led the league in rushing. But at the same time, there's only 2 guys that I wouldn't even get mad at you drafting first. The next person that if you did draft this person first, I couldn't get mad. But at the same time, I don't blame you, is Derrick Henry. Obviously, the Titans rely on Derrick Henry, so he's also a good pick. So if you got him first or Jonathan Taylor first, I couldn't get mad at you. But just know he did come off an injury last season, and is he 100%? You know how these running backs' life shells are. It's a big gamble. Jonathan Taylor still got fresh legs out there. And then not only that, they won't rely too much on Jonathan Taylor since they now have a quarterback that actually can throw the football. But they'll probably use Jonathan Taylor to punch in on those touchdowns. So it's always a big one. Next on the list, I can't get mad at you if you draft this guy first, actually, because he always produced solid numbers. Nick Chubbs. Nick Chubbs is always dominant. He was up there on the top 10 leading rushing yards and everything else. And we obviously know on a team like the Cleveland Browns that they're going to be running the football. They're probably going to punch that run in harder than anything else. With the Deshaun Watson, all this conspiracy around him and everything. And then, their starting QB might be Jacoby Brissett if he stays healthy and everything. So they're going to be relying on that run very hard. So he's next. Fourth on the list, if you're the 4th pick, those top 3 are gone. So now you're going into your nitty gritty. You're Joe Mixon. A lot of people have some speculation. Could Joe Mixon be sharing with P. Ryan and everything? Regardless, still Joe Mixon. I obviously still don't understand why that the Bengals decide to take P. Ryan and run him up the Arnold Donald, Aaron Donald, right there in the Super Bowl. But we're not going to get into that. That's a different story. I might do I might actually do a video of dumbest NFL moves. There's a lot of them out there. Next on the list, I got Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook injury prone as hell, man, but the numbers he put up, I'll take that L. I'll take that. If I'm the 5th pick and those guys are gone, Dalvin Cook, I have to. I have to because I know Justin Jefferson's on that team, but it's still Dalvin Cook, man. You can't pass up on the Dalvin Cook. Next on the list, Austin Eckler. Let me say this, man. The Chargers are the most suspect team out there. I'm not sold on them fully. But Austin Eckler, if you think about it, he reminds you of like a Le'Veon Bell, a light-skinned, bald-head Le'Veon Bell. That's who he reminds you of. He's very consistent. Now, this is the twist right here. These running backs right here, they lead the league sometimes in, rushing. So you can't go running back the next pick. Me personally, I've seen the downfall of many guys. Y'all go get these Christian McCaffrey. So I'm going to give you names right now. Don't get these guys on your first pick. You're deep in this league now. In the deep man league, you need to switch it up. You got to go. I always suggest not running backs, wide receivers. Go wide receiver. I'm not going to fault anybody who get a wide receiver right now. Like in the if you're the 6th pick, 7th pick, or even 8th pick, go wide receiver. I would say that because those guys right there in the first five, because Alvin Kamara, we don't know his legal status. They're pretty much like set up that they're going to take over, but it's not guaranteed. We also know that these guys also, minus Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry, they're in throwing teams. They're like teams that throw the football a lot. So, when I'm heading with this, I will go Cooper Kupp. My next pick, I will be Cooper Kupp. Reason why, Cooper Kupp exceeded every expectation and then some for wide receiver. So why not? So I'm going to definitely go Cooper Kupp. You can get mad. I will say this. Cooper Kupp, next, Devontae Adams, the next pick, Deebo Samuel. You want those guys that are studs that's going to get you those points to make up for what you – because the other guys, they're going to – on a good night, these guys are going – the rushing leaders, they're going to get those points that going to lead their way in fantasy. But they got to also think, this is what makes fantasy so fun. Those guys have to get those players because the guys in the bottom of the draft, that snake, especially if you're the snake draft, which most leagues should be in, I would never play none else. They're getting those guys in the top, like the top of the top. So you'll see when this come back, right? Next pick after that, Dr. Deebo Samuel, you're going to go Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, maybe Jamar Chase, any of these guys. So let's say all you guys at the bottom, y'all pick wide receivers. I would suggest that. This is where it gets even funner. Where do you guys go after this? I'm going tight end. If I'm down in that bottom and it's a snake draft, I'm getting Travis Kelce. I'm going to piss you off and get Travis Kelce. I make everyone mad every football season when I draft that tight end in my second round because I know it's so hard. Tight ends is a tough position. There's not that many good tight ends. I go Travis Kelce. The other person going to fall behind me. They always do. They go get Mark Andrews because they're like, okay, I need to get this guy. Now these guys are drafting different. These guys, because at the end of the day, how many running backs are actually punching it in like that? Not that many of them. So I'm not going to waste my first few picks getting guys that are not going to give me those points. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going tight end. You're going to have your Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Darren Waller. There's going to be those guys that still believe George Kittle's going to produce those numbers in fantasy. You keep believing that. I'm not sold on anybody injury prone. Injury prone players are not my favorite. So next, then you can after those three guys go, the guys who still left with wide receivers. That's when you go back to those, those second round running backs. What I mean by second round, your Javonte Williams. You can get Zeke. I do not advise getting Zeke Elliott if he's sharing yards with Tony Pollard. I'm sorry. You could go get Christian McCaffrey if you really believe that he can get you something in the second round. You could go get Leonard Fournette, but do not forget Leonard Fournette did stack up a lot of weight coming into practice and coming into football camp. So the biggest things, and then so on. What I do not want you guys to do first round is go out drafting quarterbacks. Don't do that first round. I kid you not. I've never seen no one win their league drafting quarterbacks. Everyone go get his Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or Jalen Hurts. Don't do that. You're most likely to lose your fantasy, especially if it's a money league. People will actually look at you and you probably won't even play with those guys ever again because you did something like that. Have some honor. Draft those rushing leaders. Draft those tight, those deep. I never fault anybody for getting a receiver that accumulates points. Because remember back in the days when Antonio Brown was playing for the Steelers, Antonio Brown used to be a first round pick in the fantasy because he's how much he used to cover. So, guys, I really want you guys to stay away from players. Do not draft. I don't want you guys to even look at them. If you're playing fantasy, do not look at these guys. Don't look at any running back from the Raiders or the Eagles. Reason why, any quarterback that runs heavy, don't try it. Don't even try it. Quarterbacks that you should draft first, like if you already got your team stacked up, you got your tight end, you got everything you need, you should go Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a fantasy machine. Josh Allen can also step out the pocket and get you those points. Second, I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, he's a kryptonite to his team when it comes to throwing, so I learned that lesson from getting a receiver, and I'm thinking that, okay, I'm going to have this receiver in my flex, and that guy doesn't get me nothing. So I will go Jalen Hurts. And let me go into the flexes. Let's go into some flexes. Another good flex that I will always advise people to get, like a good super flex. Anybody from Tampa is a good flex. Anybody from Tampa, because you never know what you're going to get if you get anybody from Tampa. Brady dispersed the ball out so much and so evenly. And then with the addition of Julio Jones, you can't go wrong with having him as a flex. Now, star-wise, you taking a gamble because just like Jamar Chase, but the thing is, Jamar Chase does have – I wouldn't get mad at anybody having Jamar Chase as their starting first pick because at the same time the connection they have from LSU. But all the rest of those guys, like Higgins and Boyd, I couldn't do it because the reason why is the ball sharing. They share the ball too much. I can't have that. But Chase make those big plays, and not only that, and we've seen what he did to Jalen Ramsey. So in the Super Bowl too, yeah, this guy was a superstar. So those flexes, Melvin Gordon won't be a bad flex. If you're in a deep league, look into that Melvin Gordon, Brandon Ayuk, all those guys that like no one noticed. Look into those flexes. Some of these guys though, I want you guys to stay clear away from. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, stay away from that guy. Kareem Hunt's a good flex. Another flex that a lot of people, and I know you guys going to kill me for saying this because I know you guys love to get him on the waiver wire when Dalvin Cook goes down. Alexander Madison. I hope I said that name right. But he's a good flex. He's a phenomenal flex. Especially because you have him as a flex. And he starts running the ball. Guess what? If he produced those numbers like Dalvin Cook produces, then guess what? That flex will win you the game. There have been some times I was beaten by Alexander Madison because I couldn't get him on the waiver wire. Dalvin Cook goes down, this guy steps up. Easy day. Another flex, if Alvin Kamara's out, I don't really know who's the backup running back is over there, but make sure you get him. But yeah, that's what I got for the fantasy. Obviously, if you're in money leagues, stress the draft accordingly because there's people that's going to take your money. Just remember, there's some guys, just because they used to do good, like, we got to go over this Christian McCaffrey. I got time right now. I got a lot of time. Why people love drafting Christian McCaffrey first. They still living off that 2019 year that he's doing all this and that. I'm not sold on a guy that continues to do so much for his team. I get it. Christian McCaffrey's a stud. That 2019 season was phenomenal. He's not going to do something like that ever again. You guys need to get that in y'all head. If he does, then kudos to him. He's not going to. Every time I see somebody get Christian McCaffrey the first round, he gets hurt. Fantasy's done. You got to think you're picking him the first. He's getting picked the first time, too. Their fantasy ends right there. You guys need to know how to draft. There's guys that don't know. They go by names. I kid you not. Tom Brady. I seen Aaron Rodgers be gone in the first round. Oh, I got Tom Brady. I got Aaron Rodgers. These are guys that get picked up 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th round. Quarterbacks like that, those strong quarterbacks, they're nice. It's nice to have a Joe Burrows and all these guys, but they're not first-round guys that you should be getting. Unless my quarterback can run, do this and that, and everything else. No, Patrick Mahomes, he's a 4th-round pick at the most. But I would still pick him at the 4th round. Him and all these other guys, they're literally 4th round. If your team is already stacked on good running backs and you want that quarterback right now, or you got all the stuff you need, then yes, go for it. But other than that, I'm not going to do that because guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to be stacking up my running backs and my wide receivers. I'm going to have the threat and everything else I need to destroy you. I kid you not, I've been putting up 200 points in most of my fantasies on a good day. I have friends that told you I made 70-point comebacks because they had to deal with a Jonathan Taylor and a Mark Andrews. Yeah, we all remember that. I had Jonathan Taylor and Mark Andrews in one of my fantasies on that game they were playing, and them guys gave me a 70-point comeback. Literally. So I know what I'm talking about. I will put any waiver against anybody on fantasy. Just going at them. I don't hardly be in the waiver wire or nothing like that neither. My team just be set up because I know exactly what I need to do and what I need to draft to beat you guys. There's players that are sleepers in the league that you guys should not fall asleep on those sleepers. One of the biggest sleepers that I see, and I'm not even gonna like tell him where you need to draft him, but he's the best sleeper ever. Cordell Patterson. You'll get a Deebo Samuel type numbers all the time with Cordell Patterson because he can run it and he's also a receiver. He's listed up as both. So it's kind of like how that Taysom Hill action was. But that's all I got for Hittin Opinionatorz. I want to go over fantasy. Let me know how you guys looking in your fantasy. If you're in a deep man league, take all this into consideration because I do not want you to be on that other end of the losing side. And let me tell you, it's all cloud at the end of the day when you end up on the losing side. People make fun of you. They do all types of stuff. You might not end up playing again because some of my leagues, if you have a losing season, I get rid of you. I literally get rid of you because there's no point in having you there if you're only winning 2 games in the season. That means that somebody in your division is eating and nodding you. And then I like to compete. I like to know that there should be nobody fantasy leagues with 10 wins. If that's that case, then we have a problem. That means somebody ain't doing. That means everyone's not doing their job. I like those fantasy leagues when the numbers is all stacked. One loss can make somebody get out the playoffs, and then we all just join in and everything else. I don't like those guys who, in a certain amount of week, they're going to the playoffs. I like to compete. I like to let you know that you can get thrown off and everything else. But get in the comments. Let me know exactly who you feel like should be the sleeper. Who am I wrong about Christian McCaffrey? But y'all get in the comments. Let me know. It's your boy. I'm out.